From the City of Angels, you're listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to review Star Wars, we're going to review Lost in Space Season 2, and we're going to review The Witcher, new on Netflix. So let me strike the music, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
What's up, savages? And what's up, my fellow Americans? And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your weekly dose or monthly dose of pop culture, politics, and futurism. I am the formerly mentioned host, James Salazar. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all, and all a good night. We are headed into the New Year's Eve celebrations, and I hope you are safe. I hope you are smart and don't do anything too foolish. And I'm pretty sure you are getting those New Year's resolution. And what do I think about New Year's resolutions? Let me tell you something. If only once a year you take an account of what you haven't done and what you should do, and you're going to have the New Year's be a new start, well, it's better than not having anything, I guess. But to truly be successful, it's constantly reevaluating your priorities, reevaluating your goals, readjusting based upon where you are in your life, financially, mentally, emotionally, in your relationships. Recalculate and decide where you want to go on. Where do you want to get to this year? It's simple. It's just getting yourself to do it. It clarifies your mind. Just clarify your mind. Just start writing out what's important, what's not important. What are the critical issues that you're dealing with too? And what are the answers if you pulled your emotions out of it? I know that's very hard to do. Especially for some in relationships, or an idea that you're holding on to, because you've had it so long and you realize it's not working. All these things matter. So, I digress. So, write it all out. Quick hint, write it all out. What do you want to accomplish this year? Take it by month, week by week, what you want to accomplish, and do it. Just do it. And some of you need to drop some ideas. Some of you need to adopt some ideas. Some of you need to drop some people that are toxic from your life. Some people need to add more people who can encourage your life. Some, whatever it is, whatever it might be. It only takes a couple hours. Clarify it and get the ball running before New Year's Eve. Do something towards that goal immediately. To make it real, to make it tangible. So there's my New Year. There's my New Year's gift. Look, I just had an app right now to remind me to drink water. Everybody should start drinking water. Let's bump that water up. If you're taking 2 glasses a day, let's bump it up to 8 glasses a day. Because, we're mostly water. So, if you don't put water in you, you keep on putting Coke and beer and alcohol in there, just put sugar, I'm just telling you, you put water in your gas tank, it's going to fuck it up. But if you put gas in your gas tank, it's going to go well. This is stupid. I'm trying to make this work. It's not working. Just drink water. I cut my losses on this analogy. That's all I'm saying. Just get about it. Just be about doing it. Hard work, there is no substitute. Hard work, consistency. And you're only going to get hard work and consistency if you're passionate about what you're doing. If you're not passionate about what you are doing, you think you need to be doing something else. Because you are lucky enough to live in this first world country where we can choose a career path. If it wasn't for capitalism in the American way, you would be a farmer. Pretty much. So take advantage where other nations don't have the advantages we are. You can choose to do something unique to help the environment, to help your life. Do something great for business, for health. I mean, there's plenty to do. There is plenty to do. You don't have to stay in that stupid job. Unless you love it. But if you don't like it, get out. Do something else. I, as an Uber driver, have met many people. I've met people at 60 years old getting a nursing license, and they're so excited because they're actually going to start helping people at 60 years old. There is no time frame. You can be about something you believe in right now. So I encourage you all to do that. Let's get to some reviews, okay? All right, first, Lost in Space, Season 2, Episode 1. Where we last left off the Robinson family, they went through a wormhole. And the robot was fighting another robot, trying to kill everybody. And spoilers in 1, 2, 3, we know now that the aliens, the robot aliens, didn't go through the wormhole, but they got spit out through the wormhole, and they went back towards the space station or the bigger spaceships, while the Robinson family flew to a different part of the universe or the galaxy, and they're lost in space. Crash land on this place. So overall, my general is there's some clever writing. They are put that situation where they're put into a situation, and the geniuses of either the mom, the dad's practical knowledge, or the son's inspirational knowledge, all their wisdom, they find ways to overcome certain situations. That part of it is really great again. I like it. The mother solves some problems. The kids solve some problems. The father solves some problems. Dr. Smith is still an intriguing character. So I'm excited about where this new season is going. I don't really want to spoil it for you. But the way they're trying to... it's fun watching them troubleshoot their problems as each problem arises and they fix it. Another mystery unfolds. So as long as it has this vein of them overcoming, adapting, still being lost in space, it's good. I like it. I'm hoping to watch second episode and see where it goes from there. There was a mystery, something very mysterious happened at the end of the first episode of the second season. And it was pretty cool, and I'm excited. I know some of you have already seen it all the way through, probably finished the whole show already, whole season 2. But I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens to those robots who were left. They probably killed everybody in the space station, or they're just dealing with them. But we know, here's a spoiler, that Will believes the alien robot went through the wormhole with them, but they didn't. They got spit out, and it's probably fighting that other alien robot who was trying to murder everybody. So that's where it stands right now. Overall, the acting's all good. The situation's good. There's clever writing. And the relationships between the whole family and Dr. Smith is all fun. So I give it a thumbs up for the first episode. We'll review it after the whole season is done. The first season I loved a lot. So, yeah. That's Lost in Space. I know it's not much of a review. Seeing one episode. But so far the writing, I'm very happy with it. So far. And the character developments are still developing. Will grew up. It says 7 months later. They should have put a year later, because that dude is almost as tall as his father. Which is funny. I got a train going by. And it's deciding to go backwards. And here comes the engine. It's going to get louder. And louder. And louder. And louder. It's pushing back a big cart of stuff, so they're pushing that engine. Let's roll down the window. Oh, I can't open the door. Whoa, that's a silent engine there. Okay, let's get into The Witcher. So The Witcher, starring Henry Cavill, Superman. It's sort of weird seeing him in white hair and screwing chicks and chopping people's heads off and being a pretty mean dude overall. Entertaining too. It's weird. I don't think it's going to ruin his Superman choices, but I was thoroughly entertained by it. It's a magical world with knights in armor, and the Witchers have magic, but they're sword fighters too. So they're half wizard, half a knight, sort of. But they're a lone wolf, and they usually kill monsters for hire, and they go on living that way. Great, awesome. But there's something prophetic has come by where he's supposed to meet up with this one girl who has superpowers. Her whole family got killed because her mother doesn't know how to rule her country as well, and they didn't perceive the threat coming, so they all get killed. And this is spoilers. Sorry. You should have realized I'm going to spoil shit. And if you don't realize that, then that's on you. Okay? Whatever. So, lot of good action. Strange types of magic, which is cool. He's dealing with some curses. He's dealing with different types of magic. There's sort of like this grooming of wizards or like sorcerers for kings, and they try to match them up like Tinder, whatever. Back then, and this one girl who's all deformed, but she got moxie, I guess, and she ends up fixing herself, which is a very painful process. She ends up being this beautiful girl, and but she was still getting action when she was ugly from a good-looking dude with cool eyes, and he was like, "I love you." And she's like, "Screw your love," and he's like, "Well, you ugly then." Basically, the argument was, and she's like, "Oh yeah, let me do this," and she fixes herself. Takes a lot of pain, and now she's she got hooked up with the where all the sorcerers who were being groomed, they all wanted to be groomed for this one dude, the one king that's above them all, and handsome, dresses in white, so he must be good, and therefore she comes in, intrigues him, boom, bada bing, she got his eye. And for some reason, this council that looks over these girls who are groomed to be sorcerers, she sort of screws up their plans because they wanted this one girl to be matched up with that king. So there's some intrigues there. Henry Cavill's character is pretty badass. He looks cool in white hair. It's going to take like towards the end of the episodes for you to see him in that role. But by the time season 2 comes out, we will be totally sold that he's the Witcher, and he's not doing a bad job. He's not acting bad. He's acting really good. He's not doing a bad job. He's very exciting to watch. His sword fighting is pretty cool. He worked on it very much, and it's just him playing such a iconic character as Superman. Throws you off a little bit. But his acting's on par. He's doing a great job. So thumbs up, 5 potatoes so far. I don't know what the criticism is. They expect it to be like Game of Thrones. I'm like, come on, it's not Game of Thrones. It's not Game of Thrones. It's his own thing. It's not gonna have the betrayals. It might, but overall, it looks amazing. Looks just as good as Game of Thrones. The fight scenes are just as good as Game of Thrones. The magic is pretty awesome. So far the magic that we have seen. The monsters seem pretty cool. We'll see if they bring in a dragon, because, dragons sell. So, yeah, so far I will review it back. I will take another gander. We will revisit this subject once I watched all the episodes, and I'll give you my overall thought about it. All right. So there. Now let's get into the big one. The big doozy. Star Wars. So Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker. Now, if you listen to this podcast, you know I've been very upset with what Disney has done to Star Wars. The Force Awakens seemed like a rehashing of A New Hope, but let's just supersize it, and without any explanation. And though it was super entertaining, it had left more questions than answers, which we felt would have been answered in The Last Jedi, but was not answered in the Last Jedi. But totally dropped the ball. Terrible screenplay. It looks amazing, but it's just silly how it went down. And it was just bad writing altogether. They pretty much destroyed it. Didn't answer any questions. Nothing. There was no payoff at all for the second one. And, having Luke die of meditation, having Kylo Ren kill Smoke because he was monologuing, Rey background with nothing, then she was just wasn't cool. She was just had no parents. Just Poe constantly getting less intelligent, getting less skillful. You see, I'm going back, and I'm just not gonna go there. I'll go there because I mentioned it, and I hate when people don't finish their statements. Yes, Bo, when you see him flying the X-Wing fighter in The Force Awakens, he is flying like a Jedi. He's just going shooting everybody out of the sky. And that skill gets lessened by every movie. So I thought he had Force powers, or they were just, like I said, supersizing everything. Rey's power was way too strong. There was no learning curve for Rey in The Force Awakens and in The Last Jedi. She's just suddenly badass. So, it seems like the new movie. Now let's get into the new movie. It seems like this new movie was like, yeah, we screwed up the first one. We totally fucked up on the second one. So let me just write this thing so we can just totally end the story and try to make people as most happy as possible. So, so first of all, let's get off the storyline. Number one, it looked amazing. The best thing I've seen so far. The graphics in that movie were astonishing. I was like, it was beautiful. It was a masterpiece. I don't know. I mean, they're very close. They're very close to where you can't get anywhere. I mean, I guess the height would be seeing things that we see now in our reality and having it look real. And they do that already. They really do that already. It already looks real, like it's you can see it on your street. It's just the only thing that would make you not believe is that we don't have such technologies. But it's there. It's there. It's the best I've ever seen. And it was amazing. It looked spectacular. Acting was good. Acting was fun. It was great. And number two, it was full of action, non-stop action. It is the most action-packed movie of the Star Wars films so far out of any of them, except for probably the Return of the Sith, the prequel, the last one. That one has a lot of action in it, and still today has the best lightsaber fights. There was a big letdown on the lightsaber fights in this whole series, these last three movies. They did not look skilled. They're just doing these big movements. Kylo Ren keeps on thinking he's the Undertaker and slamming people to the ground. I don't get it. And he's doing these gigantic thrusts and big old stabs that anybody could avoid if they were agile. But I guess he's always fighting these guys in these red robes or dark robes that they can't maneuver very well. And so, I mean, I was looking for some like really skillful, but I mean, Anakin Skywalker would have killed them all really quick. And even Luke Skywalker's fighting was slow in the Star Wars, but it was still better. It still made it was still action packed the way they filmed it. I just don't know. It just didn't sit with me. It just didn't. I wasn't impressed with the sword fighting. So that's one down. You know, that's 2 thumbs up to 1 thumbs down. But overall, and here comes the spoilers in 1, 2, 3. We see there's a lot of things that happened. And like I said, they looked like they were writing. And just to fill in the gaps in the best way possible that will please the Star Wars fan. And they seem like they did that. But so they sort of explained why Rey has these powers. And that seems to be more powerful than she should be. Which I don't believe they had written forehand. You can't convince me of that. She's a Palpatine, and Palpatines are strong. They're of a same equivalency of Yoda. So she's a Palpatine. She's a evil empress, Dark Sidious, she's his grandkid. So I guess he had a wife that we never heard about in the prequels, nor the first three, nor the prequels, or in any of these. We never knew that he had a wife and had a kid. So obviously his kid had a baby that had force powers. The guy, probably the son, should have had force powers too, but I guess he didn't. He tried to hide Rey from her grandfather, Darth Sidious. But this is all the mastermind of Darth Sidious. He's always been 3 or 4 steps ahead of everybody, which probably makes him the best Sith ever. Say that 5 times fast. Burrito. Yeah. So that's his daughter. That's why she's so powerful. That's why her learning curve is quicker than others, because she's more powerful. Poe definitely seems less competent as the movies go on. Rey's journey seems plausible, but it all seems like a reaction from bad writing from the other two. And when Princess Leia dies, like she was going to die because the actress Carrie Fisher died in real life. I thought I wasn't going to be affected by it because they just had to do this, but there's a line, like from one of the characters when she's dead and her body's laying in a state. She says, basically, you can rest now, princess. And I started feeling nostalgic, and it was touching. I didn't think I was going to feel anything towards that, but I did, because pretty much the storyline between Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and her, it ended there. That was the end of it. They are no longer part of the story. She was the final key, the final link to that adventure. And when Princess Leia died, who was one of the forerunners and the creator of the rebellion since she was 15, if you watch the Star Killer video games, The Force Awakens. She was in it like at 12 years old. So I was touched by that little sentiment, knowing that that's the full cutting off of what I remembered as a child, as a kid, the Star Wars movies, and those heroes of Han Solo, and those heroes of Luke Skywalker, and the moxie and the boldness of Princess Leia, that I had no problem with. It didn't seem like feminism to me. It just seemed like a strong woman because she's strong. And I didn't need all these ideologies behind it to tell me why she's strong. She just was strong. She wasn't asking permission to be strong. That's what she was raised in, that world. And she's just her daughter. And if you go back, all this she is her mother's. Well, her mother doesn't even come close to who she became. And she was the last remnants of all those people who were still fighting. And I know she died. We don't understand really how she died. They never explained it. I think she was using her force powers to speak to the heart of Kylo Ren. And then, and spoiler in 1, 2, 3, Han Solo comes. I'm not sure if he's a force ghost or just something of his imagination. They never were clear about it. Or did Leia bring him forth, and her doing that made her give up her life? But she had to die because Carrie Fisher didn't finish the story. who knows if she would have lived. It would have been great because she was supposed to be trained by Luke Skywalker. If we saw Carrie Fisher started fighting a lightsaber fight, and she's pretty badass, it would be as surprising as when Yoda fights in the Clone Wars. It would have been pretty exciting to watch that. But I don't know if they had that in the plans, but they should have put that in the plans. But like I said, the misuse of Luke Skywalker tells me they were going to misuse Princess Leia. And, unfortunately she died, and that's good. It's for the role, for the storyline. They couldn't have screwed up the character. Because, Carrie Fisher wasn't there to act it. So they had to close it off in a way where they have no visuals to show that. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. And part of me is upset that Mark Campbell let them do that to Luke Skywalker. I think he was so excited to be that role again. He didn't know that he had all the power. He's Luke Skywalker. He can say, "Nah, that's not how this is going to happen." If Hamill walked off the Last Jedi and said, "No, that's not how Luke Skywalker is going down. I'm out," they would have brought in another director. They would have rewrote it, hands down. They're not going to get another actor to play Luke Skywalker. And so I sort of blame him. I do. I do. So Rey ends up being a Palpatine. And he's been grooming her since she was born, somehow, through his mind. He's always been ahead. He was Smoke. So Smoke was the Emperor, I guess. Or he was majorly influenced. All the things that Smoke did were majorly influenced by the Dark Sidious. And there's a great battle, and spoilers in 1, 2, 3. Ben dies. And that's the end of the Skywalker line. Everybody's dead. From that little boy in the first one, Anakin Skywalker, to his children, to his grandson. Skywalker line ends there. Because of Palpatine. So at the very end of it all, she goes back to Tatooine. She never lived. She has really no connection to. Decides to bury the lightsabers. Who knows why? I guess she's not gonna be a Jedi. She's probably gonna go have babies with a Finn, maybe. And then I guess she takes over the old Luke Skywalker ranch on Tatooine, owned by his uncle, and take on the name Skywalker instead of being a Palpatine. So I guess. And here's the thing. Skywalkers are powerful, just as powerful as Palpatine. So, because according to the Star Wars prequel, that Anakin Skywalker had many calorians, as more than Yoda. And Yoda and Dark Sidious fought. They were pretty much even. So she can grow up to be one of the most powerful Jedis ever. She's putting it away. But if we know Star Wars, the books will probably continue on her story. if you're invested, and she's probably going to be pulled into another conflict somehow, some way. The Sith will rise somehow, and they will have to be dealt with. But as far as the Empire, the Empire is not going to come back. What Dark Sidious created, what Senator Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine created, won't come back again in that form ever again. So, it was touching. I guess it's the best you can do after you screwed up, because this whole thing could have been written way better. It didn't have to end that way. But this is the best. This is good enough to end it in a way where we can feel like, all right, I guess. Because my problem is not so much with the Rise of Skywalker. It's more a problem with the other two. And the Rise of Skywalker is a result of trying to fix the other two. But in all reality, J.J. Abrams screwed up the first one. He came back and tried to fix the other one. But it's all his fault. If he wrote the first one right, the second one couldn't be written as it was written. And I am now apprehensive of anybody who says they're a fan of something. They need to go through 120 questions on who's the most important character in the Star Wars line. If he said something like stupid like the rebellion, then fire that fool. No, the most important character is what? Han Solo, Carrie Fisher, or Luke Skywalker. The story should center around them. And they all should go out in a blaze of glory. I don't mind Han Solo being killed by his son. But after all is said and done, it seemed like a waste of time. It really mounted up to nothing. He just killed him just to kill him. And he has the same conversation with his dad again. But this time he chooses right. Well, good. Han Solo had to die because of it. And, I don't know. But Harrison Ford always wanted Han Solo to die. I'm glad R2-D2, 3PO, and Chewbacca all survived. So, yeah, that's a major spoiler I did right there. I'm sorry. So, okay, I'm done with this. Overall, I left there feeling sad that the Skywalker storyline that I grew up with has now ended, truly. Even though she took his name, she's really not a Skywalker. There is no connection to Darth Vader, to Anakin Skywalker. And that makes me sad. But I've been here so many TV shows where they just ended, and I knew the storyline ended, and it didn't end in the way I intended. I wanted it to. I was hoping for. So it was bittersweet watching it. But I tell you, just for the action and just for how it looks, it's definitely worth watching. You may not like the ending, but I think it's the ending. It's a patch-up job. It's a patch-up job, and not all patch-up jobs are perfect, but, who gets the blame is the person who put the hole in the wall, right? Not the guy who tries to fix it, okay? But it happens to be that the guy who put the hole in the wall is the guy who fixed it. So he certainly does get the blame that he created, but he tried to fix as much as he can. And Rey's story can go on, and I probably want to, and because there's still that connection, she did meet all three characters. They all did influence her in a certain way, and she is a product of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. and she has their lifesavers. There is a connection there, and they are, and their Force ghosts will be teaching her after, if she chooses to pursue Jedi training. So there's still a connection to Rey, and maybe that might be enough if they continue with the story, or read the books. But I never read the books, so I have friends read them and they tell me what happened. All right, my friends, that's it. Little Christmas notification. Just a little bit of Christmas TV shows. Definitely watch the TV show. Definitely go see the movie. Hope I didn't spoil it for you. If you disagree with any of my how I see it, how I think, if you disagree with any of my criticisms or my critiques, please put it in an email. I'll read it. I will read it. Just go to jamessalazarmedia@gmail.com. Tell me how I got it wrong, and I'll read it, and we'll discuss it. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube. Just type in James Salazar Media. I should come up. Expecting a good year. I will do a year in review sometime before or after New Year's. That's anything, right? But most likely after. I'm going to do a review of the year, of what happened to me. Also, I made predictions at the end of last year, what will happen this year in the world of futurism. I will revisit those predictions and see which ones I got it right. But I think I strategically made them vague. And make new predictions for the next year. What do I think is going to happen? And everything I'm interested in. So get ready for a spectacular podcast. The next one coming up. Until then, my friends, if the storm of life come against you and you find yourself on your knees, take a look at that storm and say what my Sensei Jack Burton always says, give me your best shot. Strike the music.